Right, so I'm at the stage of activating the paint now. It's only been sanded to patina it. There's been no kind of further stages like as explained on the paint cans. The reason being is I'm showing you how to quickly activate with just a scotch pad. Now in the kits, you get an activator bottle and you also get the activator powder. Those have instructions on of how to mix, but the ratio is 1 tablespoon to every 250 ml of water. This is obviously 250 ml bottle. So we're going to be using a big 5 litre sprayer, and you just work out the ratio the same. So obviously if it's 1 tablespoon to 250 ml, that's 4 tablespoons to a litre, and then obviously you can just times that by how many litres on the container size. So that's what we're going to do with that, just because if I keep running back to the tap to fill this up, this time-lapse video isn't going to work very well. So we're going to put that to one side. The other thing you need is green scotch pads. They'll be self-explanatory in a minute, and I'll show you how to use those. And additionally, obviously some hot soapy water for cleaning the car, because obviously any sanding you've done has left sand and dust on there, and because of the anti-corrosion properties in the paint, it won't activate unless you remove all the sand and dust off the car. So we'll get onto that in a minute. The other thing you need to note is don't do it in direct sunlight, because the activator will dry out too quick. So we may, by the time we clean the car, if it hasn't dulled down, we may have to move the car to do it somewhere where it's out of the sunlight. Right, so as you explained earlier, we've done some patina kind of rub through on this paint. However, the top is just unsanded rusty paint. The bubbles on it are from cleaning it with obviously soapy water, so we're just allowing that to dry, and then I'm going to go over and activate the lot at once. So you'll see kind of the patina rub through activation is the same as unsanded rusty paint. When you're ready and it's cleaned down, the next stage is obviously to mix up your activator. As explained previously, any kind of things that are bare aluminium or bare metal where you don't want to rust, make sure you cover them. So we've got aluminium number plate on the rear. I've put a bag over the top of that. But door, rubbers, glass, etc., plastics, the activator is perfectly fine on. It's just anything metal you could potentially have an issue with, so we just tend to cover that. Now the plan is, going to go on a time lapse in a minute, the plan is soak the activator pad, obviously wearing gloves, and we're just going to sand hard scrub like that all the way over the car. It's the same with this paint as it is with the roof that's not even sanded. So we're going to do that, we're going to leave it to dry, and then we're just going to lightly dust over it with some activator a couple of times. So time to crack on. So that's the first coat, and as some of you may have seen, it's already started to rust. Now it's probably took me about 10 minutes to get around the car. We've already got rust now. So if you don't see rust straight away, then basically all you need to do is just scrub harder with a scotch pad and leave the activator to dry out. And once it's started to rust, it's a case of then going back around the activator but without the scotch pad. So you'll just squirt like a mist rather than a spray, a mist over, let it go wet, leave it till it dries, and then keep repeating the process until you're happy with the rust. And then when you are happy with the rust, it's a case of rinsing the vehicle over, or whatever the project is, to stop the rust carrying on. So basically it's just to neutralise the surface. So I'm happy with this. There may be some patches, once I've done a few sprays, and maybe some areas that aren't rusted, and that's because obviously then I can see where I've missed with the scotch pad. So it may not rust there, for instance, but it has there. It might just be a case of coming back with the scotch pad soaked in activator and just scuffing it a little bit and spraying a bit more. But I'm going to time lapse again, the second, third, fourth, fifth coat. You just keep doing coats and leaving them to dry until you're happy with the process and happy with how the rust's looking. Right, so fourth coat has gone on. It's kind of looking rusty now, so it's a case of going to leave this to fully dry first, decide whether or not I'm happy with the rust. You will see there's some white appearing from the activator on the glass and everything. That's fine, you can leave that, it's not going to do any damage. However, we need to let this fully dry, come out and see what's going on, whether it needs a fifth and final coat or rinsing off with cold water. So I'll show you how to do the rinse off stage in a minute. If it needs another coat, I'll have another coat of activator, but it still needs to rinse off at some point. So I'm going to leave this now and come back to it probably in about 10-15 minutes. So I've come back out and I'm happy with it. I'm going to just rinse it off, and also if I'd done another coat it would be a bit darker, so I wouldn't be able to do this video. I'm going to show you up close the rust. A few areas I'm not happy with. I don't really like that front wing, which I could correct by just going back over sanding and reactivating. So if there's any bits you're not happy with, you can do that. We're going to check now the finish on this rub through method and obviously on the roof as well. So let's have a look. Right, so to neutralise the activator, it's a case of just getting some clean water, no bubbles or anything, and a clean rag. Now all your windows and stuff that you don't want the powder on can just be cleaned up with a rag. So like your lower rubbers, etc. Comes straight off. No problem whatsoever. And then the rest of it, to neutralise, you want to tip very carefully water at the top. Like this. What that's going to do is stop you from kind of smearing any of the stains or anything around at this stage, because what you want to do now is, once it's all cleaned all the way around, is leave it and try not to wash it for as long as possible. A few days is fine, but I tend to just leave it for probably a month, 2 months, any excuse not to clean it. But the longer you leave it, it's going to then start to weather nicely, and that's kind of what we want. So once it's rinsed off, that's the case of just leaving it, and your paint job's completely finished. If there's any questions, just drop me a message at the bottom. I'll do my best to answer them.